Hi, welcome back to the Impassioned Caregiver. Spec is really fascinated here. We're in, I love hearing that crunch. We're in book 2, Reports from the Elder Front. We're coming into All About the Canine. So as I was saying in one of my recent videos from the other series, and I'm not alone in this, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. You get in that high adrenalized mode, you're always on the fight or flight, and then it's hard to calm down and you're thinking, what else could go wrong? And maybe this time I dropped it myself. I accidentally deleted all my files off the cloud in my hard drive. I don't know how I did that. Holy cows. Then we had a construction project that upended our living space. But the terrific husband to the rescue again. He did emergency backup restore. I still don't know if I have the latest copies, and I did lose some files, but hey, look, we are still here. If you're following along with the other book, this would coincide with Chapter 6, Patients versus the Whole Medical System. As always, I thank the hubby for everything. This is my truth, only my truth. One more thing I want to share before we go into this. I've been working on the what you should know section for this part of the book. And in the elder part, I've really tried to put a lot of the knowledge into the script. As I mentioned, these are more theatrical readings, but I still want to leave you with learning at the end, because you can't share everything when you're trying to be pithy and quick and entertain people. But it's been a bit depressing. I'm trying to prepare what to share with you, and we did a lot of organizing. We did a lot of research, and things still went south. And that was so disheartening. And yes, I lived through it. Yes, it was in the past, but reliving it, holy cows. It seems trite to say, expect the unexpected. So I guess this is why we need community more than ever, that people will throw in their ideas and you'll do everything right, but then something unexpected still happens, and it may really discourage you, but you got to keep going and move forward. And that's where you need the support system to say, hey, I got your back, and we're going to keep you afloat. Whether it's through music, through chocolate, through tea, whatever you like, just listening, we got your back. So hang on for those bumpy rides. You'll get through them. So this is an introduction to It's All About the Canine. So a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, my mother put her name on a list for low-income senior housing. It was across the street from the hospital, which so many are now. It's so great the way they plan that. And a nursing home. My mom was on top of things, planning for their future with my stepdad. Her sister lived at this complex, so that was great. She already knew people. Her sister had been there for a while, so she'd come into an instant community. It's a beautiful, beautiful area, the suburbs of Philly, a large one-bedroom apartment. It was close to everything. Rent based on income, pet-friendly. And when you looked out the back window, you saw foxes or deer. That's how a community should be set up, because when your parents go in somewhere and they can't move as much, you want there to be beautifulness, whether it's a garden, a little forest, whatever you can. If you can avoid like the urban, just very generic, do it. Sometimes you can't, but if you can, do it, because nature is just so beautiful when you can't do a lot. So Mom had her will in order. It was great. prepaid funeral. I don't even think I knew you could do that until like my mom started discussing her plans with me. Power of attorney, it was all in order. We knew where her key to her bank security deposit was and to clear it out before reporting her death. Shh, ignore that. I think that might not be legal. But anyway, so my stepfather was 11 years older than my mom. It's very unlike her. He imagined that he's going to live to 100. And now that's a fabulous goal. Nothing wrong with that part. But he did not want to talk or plan or think about death, even though he went through cancer more than once. He was just thinking of that 100 goal and nothing else. Don't be like him. He's a lovely man, but don't think that way. There's never enough time for pesky planning. Planning is not pesky. Up until they moved, they lived in the house I grew up in, and it had a basement, an attic, 2 floors, no bathroom on the first floor, a yard that needed to be mowed. It was too much for my mom to maintain, and he wouldn't listen or let her hire cleaning help. Again, I loved him as a stepdad. I'm trying to avoid pitfalls for you. So he had some limitations. He couldn't help my mom maintain all this. And their name came up on the waiting list for the senior community. He refused to move out. My mom threatened to leave him. I thought that actually was a good motivator to say this is so important. It didn't move him. My mother had a mental health crisis over his refusal to move. Later, he fell and broke his hip walking their dog in the snow. She repeated that standard line we all are told, "Oh God, not a broken hip." It's the end of the line. He was in his late 80s at the time, but yet he proved us all wrong. Thank you, modern medicine. I think he recovered. They did the operation. He walked again. You know, maybe there was something into that mojo. I'm going to live to 100. He had more issues with his new teeth than that new joint. So brush and floss, won't you? Don't get into the dentures. Everyone says they're such a pain in the butt. So take care of those teeth. So a little time later, their name came up again on the waiting list. My stepfather was diagnosed with cancer yet again. Grudgingly, he agreed to move. According to my mom, he wouldn't let her hire movers, though, or estate people to help clear out the house. I went to go out and help them downsize and get ready to move, but I was out on medical leave at the time, and my lawyer told me I couldn't go. Assisting my aging parents could be used against me in my disability case. Life sucked for all of us in that moment. Meanwhile, my father was having some mental issues, not sure if it was due to painkillers or dementia. Definitely some stressful times for his younger wife. Also, she was maybe, that was the dog, sorry for the shake, 10 years younger than him. And it's a different load to carry. Like sometimes you just might have your 2 bio parents or whatever parents, whether adoptive, whatever. Maybe one had already passed on and you're only helping one senior parent. But nowadays you could have 4 or more elderly parents that you're helping out. And it really can add up and be extra stressful. Take a breath. We're all going to get through it. So the good news is mom and dad finally moved into the low-income senior independent complex, but they couldn't sell their home before they moved. But read all the details. You can do that. It sounds funny, and even though they still own the home, it wasn't held against them. But this is why you also need elder care lawyers, and it all can be worked out. Oh, he complained about going into a smaller space, but all he did at the big house was sit in his favorite chair, watch sports, and have his nightly cocktail. A Manhattan. I'll put a recipe in the comments. So why was he so stressed about moving to a smaller space? He'd still get exactly what he needed. So meanwhile, my mom was shaking like a leaf, and we're all asking if she had Parkinson's. She'd rudely tell us no. I realize that I have to be a little softer. Sometimes the direct approach isn't the best, and I tend to just, I want to get things done and a little too direct. So maybe that could have been softened. Finally, they sold their home in the spring, put a good portion into annuity that was run by a crook. Again, use lawyers, use really good investment people. And it just seemed like this was bad luck. It just sucked because they put their money in annuity knowing that they could take it out if they need it for assisted living. And because this random annuity was run by a crook, they couldn't. And it messed up both of their lives. Urgh. There are lawyers that specialize in the elderly that are being taken advantage of by financial advisors. But this was not the case. But just so you know, if you feel that's happening, there are specialty lawyers out there. But we're going to hit her issue with that annuity later in a future chapter. So my stepdad was put on hospice. He died the following July. Then we're going to follow the pattern of the first book, an introduction, a literary story, and then what you should learn from my experience. This story specifically came out of a caregiver support group that was sponsored by a local theater here in Portland and the Writer Guild of America, their New York City branch. Like many of our other stories, we're jumping into a crisis. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. We're in this together, and I'm going to see you with more hints after this literary story. It's all about the canine. Take care, everyone.